podcast. I'm your co-host, Payne,
I'm Bill.
and welcome to episode 60, Bill. 60.
We're old.
We are. Fuck. I
60's
mean,
pretty old.
like, the show's old. We've come so far.
Although sometimes on some podcasts I listen to, they're always like, "Welcome to episode 379." I'm like, 379? How long have these people been doing this shit? I mean, damn.
Maybe they're chopping up. Maybe you know what they're doing. Are you sure it's not like 15-minute episodes and they're just episode 1A? I mean, we could break.
No, I don't know. I think some of these people do this shit for like decades. I don't know.
What do you think? You think we should break it up? We can do like in our couple hours, we can just break it up in 30-minute segments and then just kind of just
Release 4 episodes in a week.
Well, we can drop one episode every week. I mean, we could just do the show at the beginning of the month and then see you next month or something like that.
We could do an episode a week. I don't know how timely the subjects would end up being, but I mean, we could break it up however you want.
Well, for all the people out there, the government is shut down, but it's good to know that Popular Cinema Podcast is still up and running.
That's right, because we don't need no government. We are
what? If I
radio
had a good
free.
soundboard, I'd start playing "We Don't Need Any Education" up in here, but
Yeah.
I don't.
So what does it mean when the government shuts down? Because, like, I don't know. I got up this morning and the sun was still rising and my heat was still on and my cable still works. So
I mean, people don't get paid, Bill, that are in government. Troops don't
What?
get funded. Shit like that happens.
Oh, stop. So the troops who are fighting for our freedom, they just go to the bank and there's like zero balance in there when they're trying to send money home to their families?
I
That's
don't
fucked
think
up.
take away their money. I just don't know if a lot gets added to it.
Well, what do you mean? Like, if they get a payday, they don't get a payday on the next payday time?
Right now somebody's listening to this show like Melissa, superfan Melissa, who's reading the Wall Street Journal, and she's going like, "These
I know.
guys are fucking idiots."
I know they're doing like that slap emoji on their face. I understand. That's fine. But I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how it's affecting my daily life. And so far, I mean, didn't they shut down like Friday? And today's Sunday? The world's still spinning. So
No,
what
it's like
exactly is the
It's like
problem?
a day and a half. It's close to that, maybe more like Saturday. But yes, the government needs to be funded. In order to be funded, they have to approve the stuff, which means there needs to be money. So, like, they're not funding, then they're not writing checks. Here, let's.
So the worst thing that's happening and we can think of is that the military isn't being paid, which is not okay. So I'm just trying to figure out if that's like if there's any other worse things than that.
You know what? I don't know, and that sounds really bad. Unfortunately, the way the world
Maybe we
works
should
right
steer
now-
clear of topics we don't really understand. Maybe that's where we should just let it.
Well, you know what? It just shows you how selfish we are, Bill. I mean, that's really what it shows.
I don't know.
Unless
if
it's,
it-
unless
know
it's
if
directly
selfish-
affecting you, then somehow you're just kind of moving on with your thing, doing your stuff, watching your shows, going grocery shopping.
the thing about it is, it's not really selfish. It's more lack of knowledge. So I guess it would be more ignorance. And that's not an excuse. I'm just saying, like,
Oh well,
when you hear
trust-
the words government shutdown, like, I think, like, oh, that's it. They're going to come for my fucking TV.
yeah. Listen, if it was affecting you, like if they were sitting there going, "Hey, we're going to be shutting down cable services," you would have called me up on the phone initially on Wednesday and said, "We've got to write our Congress people right now." Okay. That's what you'd be
Right.
doing. You'd be on top of it right now doing petition forms
Right.
because it would be directly affecting you.
Right. Like if I were to go to my bank account on my payday and there would be zero balance in there, there's going to be problems. So that, I mean, yeah. I mean, if there's people that aren't getting paid and shit or furloughed or whatever you call it, that's a problem. That's not good. But anyway, let's just continue with our normal subjects because
Normal stuff.
we're a little bit out of our depth here, I think.
Well, we try to take it political, and this is where we get back. It shows our ignorance. There you go. All right, so what's happening with you? What's going on, Que Pasta, Senor?
Not much. Just chillaxing. enjoying the weekend.
How was your evening? Was it a little bit of
It was
Netflix and
fine.
chill?
We watched episode, I think, 3 or 4 of Punisher. If I take it here, I know this is going to create a certain sort of attitude in you, but I have to be honest. I think I'm out. I don't know. He had the guy tied up to the chair, and he was like using his retina scan to like scan into the computer, and I'm going, "Where's the superpowers? Where's the superhero in this show? It's not easy to find." Then you've got that what's the word I want to say? We'll just call her the prosecutor or whatever lady, who's like, I can't really understand exactly how she's connected to the storyline. Like, she's investigating the stuff that happened to him when he was over there in Kandahar or what have you.
Okay.
I don't really get it, like, why she's all up in his business. But I'm bored. Bored! Bored.
Let's just call it like it is. Is your husband bored?
I don't think he's super as bored as me because he likes these like crime drama shows, like Law and Order and all that shit is his like favorite shit. But for me, this isn't what I'm tuning into the show for. I don't care about all of this political nonsense. I don't care. Kill some bad guys, put on a costume, exhibit some superpowers, or I don't know why I'm watching you.
Wait a second. How is it political?
With the whole, we were sent over there to do something, but they had us do something bad.
Yes. I don't know how that's political.
It's political because it's kind of like, he was sent over there to do some like underhanded shit for some people to get more power. That's kind of basically the story.
No, my recollection, what happens is you just have somebody that's a little bit above him on the pay scale that's trying to get a little extra power. It's not like somehow it's the president doing something. It's just like some sort of like
no, but it's like government espionage or some bullshit. It's like Chelsea, what's her name? The transsexual leaker girl, whatever.
Okay, wow, we're really all up in there, huh?
That's kind of the storyline. Is like, there's a leak or whatever, and then somebody's like investigating some people doing some bad shit. It's like those people that used to take pictures of the dead bodies in Iraq, and now they've got caught, and so now there's like some kind of cover up trying to go on. Okay, I don't care.
This is a story that's always out there,
right?
Somebody's trying to do some dastardly shit. Somebody uncovers it. Once it gets uncovered, then they have to exterminate anybody that might know the information. It's like a lot of stories like
it would be like
spy thriller.
Right. Okay. It would be like if the Avengers were trying to have a whole movie about soldiers taking naughty pictures in Iraq. I don't want to see that.
Listen, we just had Avengers Age of Ultron, Bill, where they're sitting there trying to go, should we put people on a registry or list them if they have...
That was Civil War, by the way. And...
What was Age of Ultron? They were sitting there doing some other political stuff. And
Age of Ultron was Ultron trying to take over the universe using Ultron robots because he didn't think the humans were good enough. And then they went over there and overtook...
So terrible, I didn't really pay fully attention to it.
Whatever. I'm just saying.
But in Civil War, it was political. You can't tell me that.
Well, the Civil War had political aspects to it, but in between the political aspects, they had like bunches of people in costumes using superpowers fighting each other, like superheroes do.
So if they're going to give you this heavy meal of politics, as you so call it, then they need to sugarcoat that in some sort of like flashy, like eye mask or ray beams.
because that's why I watch the show. It's called A Spoonful of Sugar Making the Medicine Go Down. It's as old as time. Okay? If they don't have the spoonful of sugar, I don't want the medicine. Just like a baby drinking his nasty fucking cough syrup. Okay? I don't want
Did
it.
did you fall asleep during the episode?
Kind of. I might have been a little bit drunk, but by the end of the episode, I was like, oh, I can't with this show. Oh. So tonight we're going to watch Runaways, which hopefully, I mean, listen, maybe it's not setting the world on fire, but it's got to be more superhero y than this. It can't be less. It's not possible.
I knew this was going to be a problem for you. I knew it.
Oh, God.
You're just allergic to good storytelling. That's
Yes,
essentially what it is. It's
I
just,
am. You know what? Here's the point. The point is, this is not why I watch these shows. This is not what I'm in this for. This is just not what I'm after with this stuff. If they want to do a crime drama, put that shit on Law and Order SVU or whatever. It doesn't belong on my Netflix Marvel show.
Yeah.
They've got one more episode. And I'm not doing it this weekend. We'll do it next weekend, and then I'm out. If it doesn't get any better, I'm out.
Okay.
I can't.
All right. That's fair enough.
I've given them 5 episodes. They better pull it out of their ass.
I don't know why you're going to give it 5, because by the time you get to 9, when they're sticking fingers into eyeballs and, blood's pouring out everywhere, we're going to be going through this thing again in another month.
Yeah. Well, we won't be if I get to episode 5 and go, oh, this is so boring. Click.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Anyway, how was your weekend?
It was fine. I don't know if I really did that much. I did watch it, though.
And was it everything everybody made it out to be?
I enjoyed it. I didn't find it to be like great, but I didn't also find it to be, like average or poor. I enjoyed it.
Jay, it is like the sleeper hit of the year. Is it worth the sleeper hit of the year status?
Sleeper hit of the year? I don't know if I looked at it as a sleeper, though. I mean, did some people?
Here's the thing: people didn't expect it to be a massive, giant hit. I don't think, and it turned out to be one. So that's what I mean by sleeper hit. It was a surprise hit.
Okay. This is the same thing where you would tell me, like, are the people actually making movies for crap and don't expect them to succeed? I mean, if you're making the movie, you have high expectations for your movie. I don't know.
The studio may have had high expectations, but going into it as a person who was around when the original It came out, it's part of the people complaining about what's wrong with movies today. It's just another reboot. On the surface, it's just another reboot or rehash. But something about it spoke to audiences, and it became a hit regardless.
I had this argument on another podcast. I don't know if I looked at it as a standard reboot, though. It took something and made it a little bit more serious. There was a lot more to it than the original Tim Curry version. It was supposed to be harder. It was supposed to be hardcore. Like they're going to take the material and it's going to have a little bit of a better budget and be tighter direction. I mean, that's sort of the point.
I understand. But on the surface, what I'm saying is
it's like taking an old Fantastic Four movie from like 1975 where the costumes look like they're made out of cloth, and then you update it. I mean,
right, but it's still not. It's non-original material, is what I'm saying. It's been done, regardless of how much better it is or worse than the original. It's not original, as in it has been done.
Yeah, I don't think that's required. I mean, I think there's enough time passing. Like, if they were to do a remake of The Stand, I don't think people are going to sit there and be like, "Oh, it's already been done." They'd be like, "Let's Let's do The Stand again." As a fan of the original one, I'd be sitting there like, "Let's update it." Better special effects. You can do sort of things you couldn't do before. I mean, I think there's always room for that. But either way, sleeper hit. That's not my term. I would use it. It was enjoyable. I had my girlfriend stay over last night. She watched about an hour and 15 minutes with me because, like.
Then what happened?
Well, I can tell, like, that's just not her genre. So, when you're putting on something like that people don't want to watch, it doesn't become necessarily as enjoyable. They're just doing it because they're, you want to do it. And
Is she
you know,
fall
I,
asleep?
I was I was scared to watch the movie alone and then go to bed by myself.
Oh boy.
So
Oh boy. I can't believe you're putting that on a podcast that's going to last
listen,
generations.
it's clowns. I'm sorry. I mean, it's spooky. You remember Poltergeist with the clown dragging the kid underneath the bed?
I do. You know how old I was when Poltergeist came out? Like 8.
Oh, so you're saying I should be past it?
I'm just saying, well, you are kind of grown now, and you can tell the difference between make believe and reality. And
The world's a
what?
scary place, Bill. The world's a scary place. I'm
I
sorry.
agree with you, but I don't know if people dressed like clowns are one of the scariest things in my world. I would think the clown in the White House is scarier than that, but that would be my opinion.
Okay, that's a different type of scary. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
All
I have an
right.
overactive imagination. So
Okay.
I've got
So
an hour.
when
I
you
got an
watched
hour.
the movie, did you like wake up your girlfriend and go, "I'm scared. Wake up"?
No, she was watching a little bit. She kind of jerked, you know. I imagine like super fan Carlos, like he doesn't watch horror movies either.
At all?
So no, like they, I was watching spookies as my mom used to call them,
Right.
since the dawn of time.
Right.
Uh, from the womb to the tomb, it'll be for me. But
Right.
Carlos, he was not like raised up on watching horror movies, like so that doesn't sit well with him.
Right.
Like it's kind of spooky. It's not in his wheelhouse, and so therefore, I don't know if I would say I don't think she watches because like when the clown like jumps out or pops out, she jumps. She like jerks.
Okay.
You know. I don't jerk, but it is kind of funny to see somebody else because it's kind of like I just don't think they're. I see the jumps coming. You know what I mean? Like,
Even
you know,
though it scares you still.
no, I think it's the creepiness behind it. It's not the jump scares. Like the jump scares, I find to be all just kind of irritating and standard fare. Like we have to really move past that and work
So
on
the
using.
clown.
It's more like atmosphere. It's atmosphere and tone and things of that
So I didn't see
nature.
the movie, but the clown, like the still photographs, we've talked about this on a previous show before the movie came
Sure.
out. I felt to be less than scary. Is it scarier in the actual movie?
Yeah. I don't know
Okay.
if I look at once again, I don't know if I look at the clown as just being visually just so scary. It's just that there's just some things that are creepy. It's like The Ring. You remember watching The Ring?
I do.
Yeah, it's just creepy at points with the music and the tone and all of a sudden the images you don't understand that are going back and forth. There's just something that's unsettling about it. And I think some of the scenes um there's some things that you're just like that's just oh boy, that's just kind of spooky. Spooky, creepy. Not like just some sort of just like Jason running through the woods with an axe. It's a
Okay,
little bit
so
different.
what is your opinion of the movie? You said it was good but not great. Is that the general idea?
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to part 2. So,
So it had to be better than your average standard fare because you don't usually look forward to part twos of stuff that you don't think deserves it. So
no, just like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, I'm willing to give this movie a rose and ask will it go on another journey with me? Will it
so then
continue
you
on
had
this
to like
journey
it
with
more
me?
than just your average. What do you give it on Netflix?
Well, it's liked it, really liked it, and loved it. And so I just put liked it. I don't know if I really loved it, but because these movies, this is American fare. The kids all survive and they beat the evil. That's the story of like it. They band together and their fear. If they overcome their fear, they win. So it all gets very schmaltzy. Kids holding
Because
hands.
good triumphs over evil. Oh,
Yeah,
there
it
we go.
gets schmaltzy, Bill. I can tell you right now. I wish we were back in high school and you were to come up to me and be like, "Oh, these people are picking on me." I'd be like, "Bill, let's hold hands and cut a knife into our hands and go, we'll be blood brothers and we will overcome this fear." You'd be cold day in hell. I'd have been like this. That sucks for you. I got to go because mom's taking me up to Uptown Pizza to get something to eat.
Wow.
I
Yet we're still
mean,
friends. Imagine.
what?
Yet we're still friends. How'd that happen? Okay,
No,
so
those things like that. That's where the story goes. Those are the standard beats. But I'm okay with that. But don't, like it's very predictable. Kids are going to overcome the evil. Got it.
So, would you have preferred the clown to eat the children and there's no children left and then everybody's dead? And, ooh, that's just uplifting.
Okay. If I were to answer that honestly, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I
There-
find I have more European sensibilities. I don't
which
need to
is
sit
what,
there.
what exactly? Explain for the viewers or the listeners what European sensibilities means to you.
European sensibilities is they don't seem to pull any punches. They do twists that the heroes don't necessarily always survive at the end. They might end up dying. The story may not go in a direction where there's always happiness and roses. They're okay with
Perhaps,
having negative consequences in a film.
perhaps that's why,
It's,
despite having like more people in their countries, their movies don't do very good box office in their countries. Maybe that's a reason. Because
it's
even the foreigners don't want to see a Debbie Downer fucking movie.
uh-huh.
Just saying. Just a guess, but okay.
You
There's
know,
a
this
reason why American movies are, kind of popular around the world, I think.
this goes back to what is it? That Neil Marshall movie, The Descent, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Hmm.
He had made it to where the woman doesn't escape the cave at the end. If you haven't seen The Descent, then she's not going to make it out.
Okay.
All right, she doesn't
So
make it out.
basically everybody dies. Then is that the deal?
What's that?
Everybody dies in the movie.
Yeah, they did a part 2 that continues forward, but just generally speaking, the
If
answer is
everybody's
yes.
dead, how do they do a part 2?
Well, you didn't actually see everybody die, so then some people live and they just continue forward on it. But
Okay, so
generally,
the
when
same
you watch
characters
the
from
first
one and the
movie,
second one.
when you watch the first movie, though, you walk out his original version, if you call it.
Thinking everybody's dead.
Yes, that's how it leaves you. Like, oh shit, she didn't make it out. That's how you walk out going, that's fucked up. Now, for the American version, for the audiences, they don't like that. They're like, we want her to escape. We need her to be victorious. She's overcome being buried underneath the ground and fighting monsters, and she's come out. We want to hear that pumping Rihanna soundtrack as she digs through the dirt. And so that's what they did. They made it a little bit more uplifting for us.
The second one.
No, the
Or the
first
American
one.
one.
They
Okay.
changed the ending for American audience.
For American audience. Right, okay.
Yeah, which really just infuriates me. I mean, I can't stand that. I'm okay with if you want to tell your story and it ends poorly, where the hero dies or the kids don't make it. I'm okay with that ending.
Well, no one in America wants to be watching that shit. That's all I can tell you. So
There's too much Beauty and the Beast and Frozen. That's what's going on. Too much Beauty and the Beast and Frozen. We're soft. Americans are soft.
no, Americans want escapism. This is what's drawing people, whatever
Where are
is
they
left of the
escaping
people.
from? What are you talking about?
The
we got
real
40 acres and a mule, Bill. We got 40 acres and a mule.
They're escaping from Trump. They're escaping from the fucking government shutdown. They're escaping from no universal health care. They're escaping from opioid addiction. This is what they're escaping from.
Gang violence, potholes in the streets.
Yes. That's what Americans want. They want everybody to come out in the end having good triumph over evil. I don't see how that's such a terrible thing. Considering when you wake up tomorrow, Trump's still going to be president.
Yeah. When's the last movie that you saw that can you recall that had a ending when you walked out that was like, wow, that's a Debbie Downer?
Rogue One.
Oh, where the whole planet blew up.
Yeah, all the characters die. Yeah. Yeah. But you still had Princess Leia going, what is it they brought us, Your Highness? And she goes, hope. That's what American movies need to be. There needs to be a ray of hope at the end. It doesn't have to be everybody survives, but there has to be some kind of fucking ray of light.
That right there is very cool. That right there, now that I recall, like with the Princess Leia, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with, if somehow they would not have shown that the people blowing up and dying on the planet. I would have felt like that's just cop out. Like they're just like we don't want to show that because people are going to be upset. I'm okay with that. That's a cool ending, but did you expect them somehow to survive? Did you
No,
want them all to survive?
and I'm not necessarily invested in their survival, which is why it works, I think, in the movie because
So you're saying you
you
don't
like
like
the
the character, so you don't
no,
care about the dying? Is
I
that
like the characters and I care about the characters, but I also understand before going in, even stepping into the movie, that the movie takes place right before Episode 4, A New Hope, and since now none of them are in the original trilogy, then logic would portend to me that going into the movie, chances are these people aren't going to survive. So I kind of knew what I was getting into before I even walked in. Therefore, it wasn't really a shocker to me that no one survived, except, again, they accomplished saving the galaxy. So there was some good that came about their deaths. What I don't necessarily like is movies where all the characters just get enveloped by the evil and the evil wins. That's the problem. It's not necessarily everybody dies, it's that there's no ray of sunshine or ray of hope for the future in that kind of storyline.
so we agree that it's still difficult for us to have a movie centered around a supervillain doing supervillain stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why that needs to exist because it feels like bad
Right.
people win
You
then.
also need to have the villain be sort of like an anti-hero where his methods are a little bit um, not in the traditional norm of police enforcement, but still has a good heart.
Right. Listen, here's where I draw the line. I draw the line when you call the hero or the protagonist or whatever of the story when they do things like murder people. And even though they might be bad people, that's like the main thing they do is murder people in general. Then I have a problem because I feel like that isn't something I really want to invest 2 hours of my life in watching
But whatever they
somebody
turn out
slaughter
to
other
even
people.
like doing bad stuff because you know the people that they're murdering, they're really doing bad stuff. They have no redeeming qualities.
That's fine, but everybody has a redeeming quality. I mean, I don't, maybe not, maybe it's not.
Not in the movie or the TV show that
Okay,
they're
true,
in.
but maybe it's not evident in the character as presented, but I would tend to believe that everybody's got a mama somewhere or a child someplace or somebody that loves them someplace.
Oh,
So
you sound like a
you're
bleeding heart liberal. That's what you sound like.
no, I'm just, you know what? I'm not saying bad people shouldn't die. I'm saying I don't want to see a movie for 2 hours and watch somebody kill a bunch of bad people. As that's the main storyline. That's just not. I don't. That doesn't appeal to me. Like that show Dexter. I get it. The idea of that, like he's serial killing only the bad people, but I don't. This is not how America works. That one man gets to be judge, jury, and executioner. I think that's kind of antithetical to the whole American ideal. So I
But
have a
no,
problem.
that's actually the whole thing. The whole thing is that the fact is that people are complicated. Not everything's so black and white. The whole idea is Dexter is like, yeah, he's in police performance, police enforcement. He's doing things to help solve other mysteries, and some people get away with things that he knows they do the crime, and then he makes them pay. But he also sits there and tries to have like loving relationships with other people. He tries to do other things that are correct. It's
I'm
complicated.
sorry,
It's not like I am evil and I do evil only. I want to crush the world and kill
Jay.
people. I mean,
He
it's
murders.
complex.
It doesn't matter. Murder is not complex. You see a life, you take a life. Regardless of the justification in your mind for doing so, it's still murder unless you go through the process in the courts and you arrest them. They get a trial with a jury of their peers, and then they are found guilty, and perhaps they are put to death if that's where it comes to. That's to me justice. I don't understand that one person who can be flawed in their evaluation gets to take life. I just think that that's just not the American way.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I feel like some of these DC movies are trying to be a little bit more complex and showing that things aren't so simple. But for some
They
reason,
are. For example, when Superman kills Lex Luthor, it's looked upon as, well, is that the right thing to do?
What
Well,
do you
I
mean?
mean,
Lex
just
Luthor?
because,
What are you talking about?
well, you just said the DC comics are trying to do a little bit more than
You
just the.
said kill Lex Luthor. Where does he kill Lex Luthor at?
I'm sorry, not Lex Luthor. I meant General Zod.
Okay.
Um, it's looked upon as like, is that okay? Because Superman, was trying to stop the ultimate evil from destroying innocent people. Couldn't he have like somehow like blinded him or flew
Or
him
broke a
off somewhere?
leg? Just broke a leg and wounded him? Put
Right.
him in
Something
cuffs?
other than maybe snap his neck like a twig. Maybe there was another way. I mean, that's the idea, is that they're morally ambiguous. They're, and it's controversial, and that's interesting because it enters into Superman's not an all powerful God. He's also, you know, somewhat human, or it humanizes him.
See, this is the beauty of Dexter, and let's just add the DC in there to make it into the superhero world also, is that they kind of make you think about this and process it. Is it okay? Is it not okay? You walk out going like, I don't know if I want him to do that. You're right. Could he have done it another way? Am I comfortable with that? Does it change somehow I think about the hero? Is it okay? As opposed to like some of the other movies that you're talking about where it's just pure escapism, where you're not really pressed into thinking about these issues. You're just going in there and you're just watching it going, this person is clearly evil because he's twirling his mustache and he says things like, I'm going to destroy everybody in the world. And then the hero's over there sitting there like baking his mom an apple pie and helping Granny across the street. So you know clearly he's the good guy. And he says things like, hey, baby, I'm going to get you a dozen roses. And by the way, I tell you I love you every day because I am the ultimate good guy. And then everybody knows this because, like I do all the good guy stuff. I stop my friends from being bullied. I call out injustice. I'm that guy. I'm the good guy. And so, therefore, you go in and you already have all the roles set in place. I do all my stuff. I stop the villain, and everybody claps for me. It's very simple, Bill. It's just simple.
You say it like that's somehow a bad thing, or that it's somehow. Now, listen, it might
You're
not
not being
appeal to you.
challenged. You know,
It
this
might,
is a story that's
but
been
Jay,
told. We're
sometimes
years
people
old.
people
We're
face
older now.
people face challenges in the world. People face, like we talked about earlier, disease, death, poverty, drug addiction, whatever. Those are challenges that people go through that drag them down in their real life. And so, in order to get away from the things that sort of drag them down, they want to go and experience an adventure in which there is, you know, people that exist in the world that can somehow magically make all the bad things go away, or put the bad things in jail, or stop the bad guys, or what have you. Now, you can say it's simple and, it's one dimensional or whatever, but sometimes that's all people need to make them feel a little bit better about their day. Sometimes that's just the salve that goes on the wound that allows people to continue on. And I don't think that's really bad. I'm not saying it should be exclusively like that, but I think there should be certainly room for it to exist. And apparently, a lot of people agree with me because these are the types of movies that people go to see. Escapism. It's okay. It's not bad. It's just one thing in a genre. Now, when one thing in a genre overtakes all the other things, then the balance can be put off. That's true.
It's sort of like
Absolutely.
having one party in control of everything. Is that what it's like?
Sure. Sure. I mean, if you only have one type of movie that dominates the box office and that doesn't necessarily appeal to you, then yeah, I understand why people get frustrated with what's happening right now in blockbuster cinema. I get it. I personally enjoy it, and I'm one of those people, and call me a mouth breather or, a basic bitch or whatever. But that's why I like going to the movies, is to get away from, the realities of what's in the headlines of CNN that day.
Bill, the midterms are coming in November and there's going to be a change. So you enjoy your time with your basic movies, you basic bitch, but it's going to be different. It's coming for you, a reckoning.
Okay, we'll see. I think that there's more darkness in the world than there is light. So everywhere I can see a little bit of light, I'm willing to jump on it. And I think a lot of people feel that same way, which is why these movies are making foo money.
Well, speaking of like negative and worse movies, there was an article that came out, Bill, that said, according to Rotten Tomatoes, the 20 worst movies of the 90s. Do you remember the 90s?
It's a haze, to be honest.
You were at the clubs in the 90s. What was I
Well,
doing?
no,
Oh, I
because
was I was
I
getting an
met my husband.
education.
I met my husband in '92, so basically the '90s was I was already coupled. 90 to '92 was basically my experience of like clubbing in the '90s. Honestly,
Ah,
I
nice.
mean, we kind of went to maybe up to '95. I mean, we went to bars a lot when I was first, meeting him. So the first couple years probably. So '94, '95, maybe.
All right. Was there anything going on? I can't remember. Did we have cell phones in the 90s? No.
No,
What did we
Jay,
have?
we had beepers.
Beepers.
Yes.
I don't even think kids know what beepers are.
I'm
Pagers?
sure they don't. I'm sure they don't. Not that they should. I didn't have one. Did you have one?
No, I did not have one. Who
My
the fuck
husband
is
had one because
calling
of
me?
work.
Oh, well, that makes sense, though.
Right.
Well, my woman still has a pager.
Why? Oh, because it's like a thing. Wait, why don't they just use phones? Why do they use pagers?
I don't know. Maybe because they don't want somebody's like pacemaker going off.
I don't think, but you can use cell phones in hospitals now. It's like the technology's to the point where it won't stop the pacemakers anymore. I don't think.
I don't know about that. I see signs up all the time that says like, "Don't use your cell phone over in this area." I don't know.
Maybe that's in like the ICU where like all the sensitive machines are still at. Or I don't know. I was at the hospital the other day and they were like, yeah, you
Just
can
on
use
their
your
cell
phone.
phones.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when you're at that strip mall where what's her name was getting her plastic surgery. What's her
Really,
name?
Joan Rivers? No, I was at a
Is that
major
your
metropolitan
place where you're
hospital.
going?
No, I was at a major metropolitan hospital, asshole. So
All right. The number 20 movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes of the 90s, is Hook, Steven Spielberg's creation.
is this the top 20 worst movies of the '90s? Is that what they're saying?
Yes, that's
Okay,
according to them.
all right.
According to their ratings, it's got a 29%. Hook was in 1991. Apparently, this is one of the lowest ranked Steven Spielberg movies, even behind 1941. By the way, I like 1941. Do you remember 1941, the
I
movie?
do. I wasn't a fan.
I was a fan, and I think if I recall, they showed some titty in there too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so back at the time when I saw that movie, I was like a young perv, so I was just like, "Oh yeah, this is so
Really?
great." Yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's for the people who out there who have teenage boys, when you're at that age, whatever age I was. Let's see here, when did 1941 come out?
I believe it was like 1980. It came out before ET, so maybe 1980.
1979.
Okay.
Um, what is it? Was it Jim Belushi?
Yeah.
John Belushi.
John Belushi.
Um,
Dan Aykroyd.
yeah, okay. It was Pearl Harbor. There was some boob action in there. That's what I remember from the movie. That's all I remember, but
Wow.
I enjoyed it. So Hook. You saw it, but
I
this
do.
is what it says about Hook for Rotten Tomatoes. The movie was a box office success, making over 119 million, and apparently for them, it had an audience score of 76%. But the critics hated it. So where are you at on Hook, Bill?
It's in my Spielberg collection.
Okay, so that means you enjoy Hook.
It is Bill approved.
Bill approved. I don't know if I should go with basic bitch or Bill approved. I kind of like both of those things.
Whatever.
This has Robin Williams in it. You know how I feel about Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when he does more serious roles. I hate it when he does sort of like too much comedy because he seems like he needs to be like, I don't know, like a tranquilizer dart in him.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to slow it down. Speaking of Steven Spielberg, I hear he's after Ready Player One. He's thinking about doing Indiana Jones 5, and I hear West Side Story.
It'll be interesting to see how they can update West Side Story because West Side Story is the cheesiest. It is the cheesiest of cheese. I don't know how they can possibly make it like I mean, they'd have to use like a lot of violence to make it like current street gangs. It would have to be like the Warriors on Speed
But it's a
because
musical, right?
yeah, I understand they could do the musical, but you know the sharks and the Crips and the whole like dancing in the middle of the streets. That's really not what street gangs probably look like anymore. I don't know
Sure.
if
The
they looked like that in the
gangsters are going to go
'60s.
see West Side Story the musical because
The
that's
Sharks and the Bloods, I think it was, or maybe I don't
no
know.
the Sharks and the Jets.
The Jets. That's them.
The Crips and the Bloods. Come on.
Okay, I get. I'm not up on my street gang lingo, but anyway, um, I
Well,
mean, if they can
clearly,
do
West
it,
Side Story is not catering to a nefarious crowd, Bill. It's catering to you musical aficionados.
I understand. But even I, who love musicals, West Side Story is not a favorite of mine because it's just so ridiculous. The whole
I was
thing
reading
is
this over with my woman. Doesn't the guy like the romance? Because I think what the guy and the girl are from both like
different gangs, right?
different
Opposite
gangs.
gangs.
Doesn't he die at the end?
I don't remember.
There's a
I think
tragedy at
the
the end.
whole idea, West Side Story is like a musical update of Romeo and Juliet. So probably he does die. I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
yeah, there's death. There you go. We're talking about bad endings.
right.
Enjoy.
Right, but I mean, even Romeo and Juliet. I mean, you know, they died together. They died, you know, in love. They might both die. I don't
Oh,
remember.
is that romantic right there for you? Is that
Well, I
what
mean, the
you're?
thing about it's like Rose and Jack in Titanic. Yeah, that was a beautiful ending.
You
Even
know
though,
how I feel about that. Fuck that shit. I'm like, make room on the wood plank for me, please.
okay, well, they didn't think they could do that, and then you know, it became #1 movie of all time. So
That doesn't mean anything to me. So what do you? I don't even want to go down this road with you. I'm not going to go down this road for you.
what road are you talking about?
It's going to end in tragedy. That's fine. Steven Spielberg apparently hasn't done a musical ever before, but he's very excited about maybe tackling this issue. You're okay with
Listen,
that?
I would rather see a Steven Spielberg musical reboot or remake than see, you know, something like Munich come out of Steven Spielberg.
You just
So
don't
yeah,
like West Side Story? Is that what you're just
I
telling me?
don't. It's not. It's not. It's a difficult movie for me to enjoy.
Okay, well that makes sense because otherwise I would figured you'd be jumping on this, but there's clearly reluctance in your voice. What about
Yeah, it's
Indiana
not.
Jones 5? Are we bringing
Listen,
back Old Man Ford? Are we going to reboot this shit?
I hope if they bring back Harrison Ford that they start filming like yesterday because he's really old.
Well, they're saying this movie could drop in 2020.
Well, fuck, he's got to be like 70 by that time. I mean, maybe they can just CG like the lower half of his body and make
Fuck
him like
this.
run.
It's time to reboot. Let it go.
I
Let it
don't
go,
think
Elsa.
Jay. I
You
don't
got
think
to let it
America
go.
wants. I don't think America wants a Indiana Jones reboot. I really don't. As long as Harrison Ford is
So we
alive.
want old man Indiana Jones rolling around there trying to make it happen again.
Well, maybe they can do what they started to do with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, except find
Oh,
somebody a little bit more
stop.
reliable than
Fucking
Shia LaBeouf.
stop the madness. Stop it. Right now, I understand that you've enjoyed the Crystal Skull, but if I recall correctly, there was a lot of naysayers about there with the nuclear bomb and the refrigerator and all the other campiness that was going on. It wasn't somehow it was like universally loved. And so we're going to allow this to happen again. He keeps it up, he's going to get George Lucas. I can tell you that right now. They're just going to be like, relinquish the rights. We're going to get J.J. Abrams to do a better update.
What I'm
That's what's going
saying,
to happen.
what I'm saying is, they can do a Force Awakens, and like they started to do with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and start with the next generation and let Indy pass it on to the next generation.
Maybe they
Well,
can pass it on to Shia LaBeouf.
apparently that didn't work for people, so maybe they can just try that again with somebody who's more reliable than Shia LaBeouf.
Is he doing some? Is he rapping and being racist, or racist and rapping? What is he doing?
I don't know. I think he's in rehab. I don't know.
That movie he did, that little indie film, American Honey,
Yeah.
which is like 2 hours and some minutes. I can tell you right now, the more I think about that, the more the movie kind of stays with me. There's something magnetic about that filmmaking of
American Honey.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like a story where you're just following these kids trying to survive amongst themselves without any parental supervision, and it's just kind of magnetic. Anyway, let's sort of move on. I was going to go a different route with that because something was coming to my mind. Oh, length of movies. Um, what's that movie I got coming next week? Probably this week coming up. Blade Runner. 2 hours and 43 minutes, Bill.
Maybe you can break it up over like 2 or 3 nights.
Fuck. And you're right about this. When I got your text message about Nolan films,
Yeah.
I look back over his list of movies, his several recent movies. They're like 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. He
Yeah.
also does long movies,
Right.
except Dunkirk. Dunkirk was under 2 hours, I believe, like an hour and 58 or something.
Well, that's merciful.
But generally speaking, I just didn't. Interstellar was long.
It was. His movies are generally long. Even the Batman movies were long.
So is there some sort of perception? I mean, Dark Knight. The fact that it was long seemed to be a positive. Am I wrong on that? That's a positive.
It didn't hurt the box office. It didn't seem to hurt the reputation. So when you say positive, is it looked upon critically and fanly as, a success? Yeah, absolutely.
I guess if I told you that, what's the movie that's coming out?
Black Panther?
Not Black Panther. Something else.
Infinity
War? Hidden Figures 2. It's going to be 2 hours and 43 minutes. I think
I'm already out with the word Hidden Figures. I'm done.
I don't know. Blade Runner is in my wheelhouse. Okay, I enjoyed the first Blade Runner. I enjoy Ridley Scott films. It's down. I'm down with it. But part of it is just like it seems like a huge investment of time.
Why do you have to watch it all in one sitting? This is the whole idea of having a disc.
Oh no, I'm not watching it in one sitting.
Right.
I don't have that type of time.
Right.
So
watch it over 2 nights and make it now, a breezy 90 minutes each night. Not even 90 minutes for the second night.
Yeah, we're too busy world building for me to watch it in 2 hours and 43 minutes, Bill.
Right. So, you make it like a mini series and it becomes like, your movie of the week. And you watch it over 3 nights or 2 nights or whatever. That might be easier to digest.
Okay.
That won't help the box office, but it's already too late for that. So,
number 19 of the 20 worst movies of the 90s, according to Rotten Tomatoes, The Flintstones, 1994.
I would have to agree with that, but I'd put it higher.
So you saw The Flintstones?
I did. I thought it was awful. God awful.
Who is that? Rosie O'Donnell? Rick Moranis? John Goodman?
Yeah, John Goodman.
Just didn't do it for you?
Did not.
Here you go. Back in the time in 1994, the Flintstones grossed over $130 million, breaking Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade's record for the highest debut on Memorial Day weekend.
What year was it? 91?
94.
94? Really?
Quentin Curtis of The Independent wrote, the 32 scriptwriters' idea of a joke is to suffix every word with rock.
Right.
That's so good.
It was horrible.
What made you see this film back in?
Of course, like everybody else, I loved the Flintstones as a child, so I thought, well, this will be fun as an update to something I liked from my childhood.
I think I might just call this episode "Basic Bitch." That's what you are right now.
Whatever.
Basic.
Did you not see the Flintstones when it came out?
No, I didn't. Why would I? It looked like crap. Rick Moranis? Doesn't it just tell you everything you need to know? Rosie O'Donnell, Rick Moranis. Doesn't that just start to sum it up for you where you're at?
No, it was a big budget Hollywood movie. It was like one of the big movies of the summer that year that it came out. Everybody was anticipating it, because it was an update of something that you loved as a kid. At the time, I thought it would be very cool. Turned out not to be that, but how did I know before I went in there?
All right. Number 18 movie. Oh, this is good. It's good. Spawn, 1997.
Wow. I remember everything about seeing this movie with you because I remember thinking, I don't believe this asshole is dragging me to see this fucking comic book movie bullshit. And I remember thinking, when I saw the movie, this was just god awful tripe. And the CG was horrifying, and the clown, and I hated everything about it. Guess what's in my collection right now upstairs?
Spawn.
Yep.
Is it some sort of nostalgia? Is it nostalgia for you?
No, you know what? It actually spawned a fascination with the comic book superhero movie genre for me. So it's like the great granddaddy. If you want to say the X-Men is like the granddaddy of the modern comic book superhero movie, then Spawn would have been like the granddaddy, because the great granddaddy would be Superman the movie.
So I'm the cause of you now wanting to discuss Timmy Wonder Woman's piping on her boots.
You have only yourself to blame. You indoctrinated me, and then I just took it from there. And so, yes, if it hadn't been for you taking me to see Spawn, who knows if I would have ever got into this genre. It's your own fault.
Yeah,
because I didn't even want to go, and I remember walking out going, "Oh, what a piece of crap." Ironically, you walked out going, "Yeah, great."
I don't recall that.
Yes, you did. I remember it. Yes, you did. I remember it.
No.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You were totally down with that movie, and I was looking at you like, I can't believe that you like made me go sit through that shit. Yes. It's funny how we traded places.
Now that I'm older, looking back on it, when I turn it on there, Michael Jai's white acting is just so bad. It's hard for me to get through.
It is bad, but at the time you didn't seem to mind. Now, why did you not mind in the movie, but it just became like less for you over time? Because that's how you always do your movies.
You don't know what you don't know. You just sit there. If you're only exposed to bad acting, then of course you're just like, that's just the way it is. But then you realize that there's other people out there like Daniel Day-Lewis that could actually like read a line, and Ian McKellen, and you're just like, you know what? This is terrible. This is piss poor. I want more. I demand more.
Came out in '97. What year did Blade come out? Because it must have been the same year. I believe it was the same year, but Blade must have come out later than Spawn, if I remember correctly.
This is where we need to have a movie producer. Blade movie is 1998.
Okay, so then it was Spawn, then Blade. Okay. Those are like the prerequisites or the prequels to in the genre to X-Men.
Now Blade is still up there for me. Blade is still high. Blade is
Spawn not up there for you?
No, it's not, because it's because the lead, what's it, John Leguizamo?
Now I can't even fucking say it.
John Lego?
Yeah.
Leguizamo? Anyway.
Leguizamo.
Yeah, as the clown, he's great in it. It's just that Michael Jai White, he just can't handle the material. And
fuck Michael Jai White. First of all, it's not Shakespeare, okay? It's a fucking superhero movie in which, yes, he could be better. I'm not going to argue that he's somehow transformative in the role, but in the overall picture of the movie, he's serviceable just as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger is at Conan. Okay.
Oh, that's so terrible. It's completely different. It's completely different.
It's not.
I mean, no.
I think he's fine. But what I'm saying is the role doesn't require a huge stretch. It's sort of like the action hero movie of the 90s, what Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger were in the 80s. Spawn is in the 90s, if you want to say, that kind of taking on that mantle. But
we put in an acting, what do you call it, like some sort of ranking. White
the
is
draw
still
for
at
Spawn
is
it's one of the first movies in which the character transcends the actor portraying him. Spawn, the character, as portrayed in the movie Spawn, is a badass with that fucking costume, and the CG elements of the costume that were in the early days of CG still hold up pretty damn well. The artistic cape with the holes flowing in the back of him, yeah, some of it looks slightly wonky today by today's standards, but visually speaking, it is a feast for the eyeballs. I'm sorry to say. It still holds up in many elements.
The costume is still very cool. but I can't believe you're somehow putting this spin on his acting here. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to
I'm
put you
not
on
saying
Fox
he's
News
good.
with the spin that you're trying to put on him as Michael Jai White. I mean, next thing you know, you're going to have him standing next to Meryl Streep going, "Oh, I can't tell the difference between their skills." I mean,
No one's, like I said, and I'm not saying Michael Jai White is good. I'm saying the fact that he's bad is secondary to the fact that the comic book hero that he portrays is cool as fuck.
okay. I'm sorry. If there is shit on my plate, and even though it contains Chipotle and some chocolate chip cookies, I can't move past it. I can't see it. I'm sorry. I can't get
Okay,
past the poop on the
whatever.
plate.
Fuck. Since when did you become fucking Roger goddamn Ebert? Okay. Enjoy the shit for what it is. Take the good parts of it and leave the bad parts on the table.
Well, this movie was ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
It was.
But it looks like we're going to be getting another Spawn movie coming out here sometime in 2019.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see the article that came out that Todd McFarlane's Spawn will not be communicating in a traditional sense?
No, what does that mean?
I think it said something like, he won't be saying like, "Here I am to save the day and rescue you all from these bad guys."
So how will he be communicating if he's
He
not
will be
using
communicating through, I guess, some sort of like
word bubbles like in the
not
book?
verbal, but like eye movements or something. I don't know. It's
Oh, I thought
all
we weren't even going to see Spawn. I thought Spawn was just going to be
the
like a
thing
shadow.
about it is that's what I'm talking about. The more you hear about it, it just sounds like a train wreck to me. I don't care it's being made for like $10 million. It just sounds like
Not good.
no. Because if we're going to do a Spawn reboot, I want them to take Spawn and then reboot it. 1997 Spawn. Reboot that shit. That's great with me. I don't know about this.
Yeah, but Jay, you're
Spawn from the
always
shadows.
one. You're always one to say, "Show me something new." You always want to see stuff that hasn't been done. Listen, I'm with you in that I think it's probably going to. It's 90% chance going to be really terrible, but I'm also leaving a 10% chance for it to be somehow, it's going to be different. Maybe it'll work. Chances are it won't, but at least they're pushing the shit in another direction than what's already been done. I mean, I guess the idea of them trying to do something original with something that's already been done is not a horrible idea as a concept. I don't think it's going to work, but
are we adding this to our list of movies that we see?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be necessarily, if we can't get tickets for opening night, I'm not going to cry.
I can tell you that to know right now. We're not adding the New Mutants and our Spawn to our list.
Okay. All right.
They need to show more than what they're doing. All right, number 17 movie, Judge Dredd, Sly Stallone, 1995.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen it. But I will tell you that Dredd, the remake or reboot or whatever, doesn't do it.
Ooh, love Dredd. Love Dredd.
Yeah, I know.
Carl Urban.
Yeah. You and 5 other people, which is why it's not Dredd 2.
Listen, it's becoming a cult classic. It's getting a following. People are petitioning. They want the return of Carl Urban, who wants to reprise his role as Dredd Man. I love it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean,
not pulling punches. That movie doesn't pull punches.
We know what's not holding them back from a remake is Carl Urban's salary, because we know he's probably not charging a lot. So
I don't know why you sit there and say that so disrespectfully. I mean, I don't know why that's
I'm not saying it disrespectfully.
I sent you a text message this morning. Your boy Gerald Butler is out there doing everything for 10 cents now. He's like the whore Nicolas Cage. He's like Geostorm, I'll do it. Den of Thieves with 50 cents, I'll do it. I'll do anything you do for me to pay, because I'm not doing 300 anymore.
Here's what he is doing. Whatever he's doing, it's frequent and often. Can you say the same for Carl Urban?
Carl Urban was just in Thor Ragnarok. How about you have some respect?
Right. Okay, fair enough. And you know what? If there's ever a Thor 4, it looks like they have left room perhaps for he did get sort of a redemption arc at the end of that movie. I would look forward to seeing him in it. But he is kind of like the Colin Farrell of the 2010s or 20 teens. He's not exactly what you would call box office draw. And I'm sorry,
it's true. You're right. I
loved him as Eomer, but before Thor Ragnarok, that's the only other thing I've really and Dread. Those are like the only three things in the last 20 years I've seen him in.
You're right. You're absolutely right. He's more of a supporter, not leading. I mean, we've tried to push him into that role. He just can't maintain it. Aramir,
Eomer, yeah.
refresh my memory.
Wow. How soon we forget. Eowyn, the blonde chick who was trying to steal what's his name from Arwen.
Yes.
What's his name? Strider, but he has a different name.
Uh-huh.
God damn it. Now I just look like a boob. Anyway, he was part of the Horse Kingdom.
That was Carl Urban?
That was Carl Urban, yes. Her brother, Eowyn's brother.
Her brother,
Eomer.
right. At the end, when they're at the two towers, my favorite scene is when the king wants to ride out with Strider to meet the orcs.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, Gandalf appears, and Aramir comes up next to him, and they're like, "To the king!"
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. That's Carl
Oh.
Urban.
You know what? That's the one scene, Bill, I can tell you right now. In the theater, I might jump out of my seat and cheer. That would make me because I just want to start yelling to the king. To the king!
Wow. Okay.
Does
Yes.
that scene have you pumped up when they're charging down? I mean,
Yes.
fuck. God
Any
damn. You know what?
scene, any scene that has Gandalf doing some kind of charge on a white horse, that's obviously going to get your blood pumping. So yeah.
Yeah, you're just supporting the gay. I mean, it's really Aramir, okay? That's what's really going on. They're bringing the Horse Kingdom, all right?
That's fine. They can bring the Horse Kingdom all they want. Without the fucking wizard in white, their asses are all getting trounced. So everybody's got to have a little magic in their life. And fucking Gandalf brings the
want you to
magic.
know that Peter Jackson, when I think about it, makes me want to pop in those discs right now. You talk about it's the same thing about, what's the word? It brings out a lot of emotion out of you. Those few scenes out of the Two Towers, as well as Return of the King, where they're rallying the troops and they're charging and they're fighting, that gets my blood pressure up. I'm a bit of a draft dodger like Trump, but I can tell you
Really?
right now, I'm ready to go into war after watching that type of shit.
Really?
Well, let's slow my roll.
I think you want to maybe dial that back a little bit because
I'm ready to charge the mount. I'm ready to charge the hill. Normally, I'd be like this. I'm not charging the hill because there's like bad shit up there. I'd be more logical. But after seeing that, I'll start yelling to the king. I'm following the king into battle.
So Peter Jackson is coming out with a new trilogy, based on, I think it's a book series, maybe, or a game series. Okay. Have you seen the trailer for this?
No.
Oh shit, you have. I can't even remember what it's called though, because that's like how unimpressed I was.
Oh, you're talking the Silmarillion or
No. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's another property. This is so fucking sad. We're on a fucking popular movie podcast. And
maybe if you did take your nap right before the podcast, your mind may be fresh.
If I don't have my fucking beauty rest, it's not going to be a long show. So I have to tell you that
Is it a movie or a TV series?
It's a movie series.
All right.
Mortal Engines.
Oh, Mortal Engines. That's right. Is that a movie? Didn't we just see the trailer?
It's a movie. It's a series of movies. Science fiction adventure film directed by it's directed by Christian Rivers and written by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and Peter Jackson. So Peter Jackson didn't direct it, but Christian Rivers was one of his big people on Lord of the Rings. Based on a novel of the same name by Philip Reeves. American New Zealand co-production, the film is set in a post-apocalyptic steampunk world where entire cities have been mounted on wheels and motorized and prey on one another. Okay. Hugo Weaving's in it, and that's about the only name I recognize. Stephen Lang.
Oh, this sounds like Waterworld.
Okay. Anyway, it comes out December 14th.
So, big cities flying around, crashing each other, and fighting. It's Waterworld.
Except on land.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know.
We saw the trailer. I don't believe if anything a teaser trailer or whatever else. Were you overwhelmed with anything like?
I was not. That's what I'm saying. Is like Peter Jackson is a weird director for me because he's one that I enjoy a certain thing from, but outside of that thing, I don't really have much time for his stuff. Like I didn't see that one about the dead girl that came back. I can't remember what it was called, but King Kong I thought blew chunks.
Mhm.
Um so but all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies I love. So when he does J.R.R. Tolkien, I'm there, but outside of that, I don't know if his his work really speaks to me.
Oh, okay. All right. Um, number 16 movie, The Bonfire of the Vanities, 1990, starring Bruce Willis, Melanie Griffith, Morgan Freeman, and the up-and-comer Tom Hanks.
I think I saw it. I think I fell asleep.
Okay. I never saw The Bonfire of the Vanities. It
It
was
was based
just
on a book. It was like a real popular book.
by Tim Wolfe.
Right.
Um, Rolling Stone, Peter Travers says on giving the film 0 stars, on film, Bonfire achieves a consistency of ineptitude rare even in this era of overinflated cinematic airbags. Um, you fell asleep?
I do believe I did.
What got you to the movie? Bruce Willis?
No, it was kind of made like a big deal. It was kind of a blockbuster at the time it was released. It was kind of like everybody in Hollywood was in it, and the trailer looked interesting, and that was at a time when I cared about other movies besides my basic
Yeah,
bitch shit.
it's I've just never got a chance to watch it. Just never.
But now, of course, since it was made before, what years did it come out? It was 19.
Right.
Okay, well, it's in your time frame, so you can still it still exists within the Pain Cinemaverse. You could still go back and watch it because
How dare you? How dare you?
Well, Jay, when's the last movie that you watched that came out before 1965? Oh,
I don't.
silence. Okay, my
I'm not
point's been
going
made.
back. I'm not going back to Citizen Kane. Okay, I'm just not,
More than Citizen Kane came out before 1965. Just saying.
not happening. Whatever. I'm not gonna sit there and be shamed into going backward.
I'm not shaming you. I'm just saying, as someone who considers themselves something of a cinemaphile, I find it interesting that you limit yourself to only certain decades because I don't know if it's the fact that black and white turns you off. I don't know if it's like the acting style that you say was like somehow over the top before these modern movies came out. I don't know, but there are
Correct
classics and
and
classics
correct.
of cinema.
The black and white, the over the top, those are all good. Do you remember that movie that Josh Whedon did, Much Ado About Nothing?
I
That was
do.
also black and white. That was
Right.
also terrible. I've
So
never
was
seen
Sin
The
City.
Artist.
Sin City was in black and white, and that wasn't terrible.
Oh yeah, that was cool black and white though. That was cool.
Okay. All I'm saying is the fact that you refuse to watch anything by the year it was released in seems very arbitrary to me. And I think that you're missing some classic gems that you might enjoy if you would just allow yourself to watch shit that came out not
You know
based on
what?
the year it
You
came
might
out.
enjoy something if you weren't
Okay.
such a. You're
Here
like
we
the
go.
opposite of the
Don't
elitist
turn it
here.
around on me. Don't turn it around on me. I am doing this thing on purpose. I realize that I'm limiting myself. I realize my shit becomes myopic. I realize it's not the educated man's thing to do. But I don't give any fucks. That's the difference.
Okay. You're like the honey badger. Got it. All right. Number 15 movie, Assassins. 1995 with Sly Stallone. Did you know that this was the first script by the Wachowskis to be made into a feature-length film? It was directed by Superman, Richard Donner, um, and it remains the Wachowskis' worst reviewed movie for
I
Rotten
had no idea the
Tomatoes.
Wachowskis were involved. I kind of thought they would have been really young during that time frame, but okay. Well, I guess not because Matrix came out in '99. I did
Roger
not know.
Ebert says this film is filled with such preposterous impossibilities that Forrest Gump could have improved it with a quick rewrite.
Nice. Well, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I didn't have any idea that the movie had such a big pedigree. It's not going
Yeah,
to make me go watch it, but it's nice to know.
I don't recall watching Assassins either, so that goes to show you too what
I kind of thought that Wachowski's first movie was Bound, the lesbian crime thriller?
I think that was the first thing that they directed. This says it was first script
Oh, okay.
to be made into a feature-length film. I think that's
Okay.
sort of the difference. The number 14 movie, Chairman of the Board.
Is that a comedy?
It's comedy with Carrot Top, the comedian.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, would not see it either. Here we go. Number 13 of the worst movies of the 90s, according to Rotten Tomatoes. Striptease with Demi Moore.
I think when we call it the worst, I don't know. I mean, it's a cult hit because it's campy, crazy zaniness. I've never seen it, but I've always kind of meant to. I just never got around to it.
I never saw Striptease with Demi Moore. And you know how I get on my high horse with some of these things, Bill. I feel as though the only reason why this movie was made is because Demi Moore's got a rockin' bod. And so she's trying to get out there to show it because she's been like hitting the weights and hitting the Pilates. And so she needed a vehicle where she could actually just roll around and be like, I'm just playing a role, which requires it to be a stripper or something else like that. It just seemed thin and just, what's the word? I don't know.
It's directed by Paul
narcissistic.
Verhoeven.
It seemed very narcissistic and self-absorbed. Like, you know what? I'm going to do a movie where I get to roll around and show off my body. I wouldn't see it on principle alone. Not interested.
Well, it's directed by Paul Verhoeven, who directed some of my favorite movies like Total Recall.
Total Recall, sure.
My husband's favorite movie is Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers is also a fan. So you're telling me because Paul did it and I like both those movies, I got to give Demi Moore Striptease a chance?
Yeah, I'm saying that, there's reasons to think that you might enjoy it beyond the fact that it looks silly. But, I'm not saying you should see it. I'm just saying there's motivation out of all the millions of movies on the shelf.
You know what Striptease is? Striptease is also the same movie as that girl from Saved by the Bell, Showgirls. Okay? Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah, no one's saying
of like, I'm trying to break out of a certain image, and I'm going to go over here and show off a little bit of tit and skin. Just show you that I'm a bad girl and I can do more than just these goody two-shoe roles. And I got no time for that. I got no time for that, Bill. It's ridiculous.
No one's saying it's a cinema classic, but there's a reason why it's a cult hit, and I'd like to find out that reason.
A cult hit?
Striptease? It is a cult hit. It is considered
Showgirls might be a cult hit, not Striptease.
I'm thinking of Showgirls. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm in a totally wrong movie here. I'm thinking of Showgirls. That's the one that was directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah, with Kyle MacLachlan and what's her name? I can't remember her.
Elizabeth Berkley.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now that's a camp classic cult hit. I've never seen either one, but okay. Yeah. Totally off the base. Wow.
Wait, was that directed by Paul?
That was directed by Paul Verhoeven. Striptease probably was not, but Showgirls was.
Okay. Well, let's see who directed Striptease. All right, here we go. Oh, I remember this thing with Demi Moore. Andrew Bergman.
Never heard of him.
He is known. Let's see what he's done here. He did Striptease with Demi Moore. He wrote The Scout. He wrote and directed Honeymoon in Vegas.
Well, that was kind of a popular movie.
It was.
Wasn't Nicolas Cage
was 1992. What's that?
I think Nicolas Cage was nominated for an Oscar for that.
I think that was Leaving Las Vegas.
Wow. I am so fucking off my shit today. It's not funny. That's fucked up.
That is. Usually I'm the one that's getting the wires crossed more often than not.
I'm all fucked up over here today.
All right. Well, here we go. The number 12 movie. Batman and Robin, 1997. I'm looking at bat nipples right now.
Do we even have to go here? Because I don't want to defend it. I don't want to have to defend it.
Okay. Can I say something that's directed by Joel Schumacher? For the people out there, he's also known as Dillweed. Forever Dillweed.
Wow.
He directed some episodes of Game of Thrones, so I have to sort of like forgive him a little bit. But still, I don't know.
Listen, for what it is, I enjoy it immensely. It is in my collection. I will admit to the time of having seen the movie, I thought it was terrible and walked out of it with a bad taste in my mouth. True enough. But over the decades and over the years, I started to appreciate it for what it was, which is just basically an hour and a half of pure comic book fluff.
Bill, like all gays, you're just controlled by your libido. That's all it is.
I'm
Okay,
not,
let's
but I
just
will say this. I mean, I enjoy the bat nipples, sure. I don't understand why you can't have bat nipples. I mean, they have bat nipples in the comics.
here. Jason Bailey of Flavor Wire quote wrote, "Schumacher is like a bad stepdad who thinks we'll love him if he just feeds us candy all day." These
Here's
people are
the
some
thing.
witty motherfuckers. I can tell you
Here's
that.
the thing. I like candy. I thoroughly enjoy candy. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not. All right, the number 11 movie, Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Can I ask you this question? As a Batman reader, as a comic book fan, if the Nolan movies exist, which they do, which at the time they did not, so I'll say at the time I would understand people's resentment or anger towards it. But in retrospect, now that the Nolan trilogy exists, can there not be room for the anti-Nolan trilogy to exist, which is what the Batman original series was really like?
You know
Why
what?
does everything have to be Nolan?
You know what? The problem with answering that question is everything seems to always skew back to more middle of the road and comedic roots. That's where everything skews back for because it brings in more people. The more that requires you to use critical thinking skills or more dramatic things, it somehow lessens the audience appeal because you're like, it's just too heavy, it's too much. Like you said, I worked all week and I don't want to have to go in here and learn about interstellar travel and astrophysics and time bending backwards. It might not appeal to that. So everything always goes back to having fun and being lighthearted. So if you're asking me if it should exist, well, clearly I would agree with you. But more often than not, these movies get made more serious, more critical thinking, more gravitas than does. I mean, there's always gonna. I got Ant-Man and Wasp coming out. I'm gonna have
Yes,
Michael
but at the
Pena in
same
there
time,
making some sort of other comedic jokes about some sort of like racial stereotypes and other tropes. That's
you
what I'm
have
gonna have to deal
Ant-Man
with
and
Ant-Man and
Wasp,
Wasp.
but you also have Winter Soldier and Civil War. There's a balance there that I don't think one of the other has to exist without the other.
I don't find that there's a balance in the force. I find that there's too many good Jedi right now. I need more Sith up in this bitch. I need more than two, Bill. I need more than two.
You know, truth certainly depends on your point of view.
I tell you what, when I run the world, my truth will be the only truth out there. I can tell you that right now. You'll be in shackles.
Sounds like Donald Trumpisms to me, but okay.
Shackles, I tell you.
Wow.
All right. Number 11 movie, Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Never saw it.
I saw it and I like it.
So why is it on the bad list?
Well, apparently it's 10%. Let's see here. What's Karen James, spelled Caryn, of the New York Times wrote, quote, as surely as if it were a McDonald's or a Burger King, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is part of a money-making franchise, though this one has been abandoned for so long it has cobwebs on top of cobwebs. I like the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. This is back when Eddie Murphy didn't have much of an ego, if you ask me. And this is when he was like being cool, being funny, and it was a combination like we have with like a Lethal Weapon, of combining action, drama, comedy. It was just I like the franchise, and even though it's corny, I'm aware of Beverly Hills Cop 3. It's a little bit over the top. I liked Eddie Murphy in these roles. It's a guilty pleasure, and I enjoy it. Eddie Murphy then fell off the wagon when he started doing that Distinguished Gentleman, where he thought he was too cute for school and dressing up and putting on like Soul Glow, making them think he's like a leading man. That's when everything went south for me for his career. You know how I feel about that. We've discussed that.
Okay.
You got too big of an ego, but anyway, I'm a fan of that. Have you ever seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies?
I saw one and maybe two, but
Not a
I
fan?
don't recall seeing three. I mean, they're not in my collection. They were okay for the time, but
No, okay. The number 10 movie, Milk Money.
I recall the title, and that's about all.
What's Antonio Banderas's old woman? Are they still married? What's her name?
Yeah, it's what's her name? Dakota Fanning's, not Dakota Fanning. Jesus Christ, I
The
can't even talk today.
the
Kate
blonde.
Johnson's mother.
Oh, this is so ridiculous. Are we running
I
a
know.
pop? Are we running a podcast show?
I know. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know if I have like
Melanie
my
Griffith.
brain cells fell out. Yeah, Melanie Griffith. That's her.
Um, I too have never saw Milk Money, and I don't think I would ever watch it. Okay, number 9, Spy Hard. Leslie Nielsen.
I guess
said?
it's one of those Naked Gun type movies.
That's what it looks like based on the picture I'm looking at. Wouldn't watch it. Okay. Number 8 movie, Cool as Ice, 1991 with Vanilla Ice.
Never saw it, but
This is the problem with this is representative of something for me here. Is when you take a popular singer, you know where I'm going with this, and then somehow because they're like popular and everybody's singing their songs, and you throw them in the movie. And like, this is Cool as Ice because his name was Vanilla Ice. I was expecting there to be like a Rihanna movie called like Riri is Back or something like that. It's about her struggles trying to make it. No, it's about the struggles of a singer trying to make it in the world of Hollywood. I mean, that's what it'll be. And it stars Rihanna, and she'll be like,
you know what? I think you need to get like up to date. I don't know the last hit single Rihanna had, but I don't think it was like in the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So you might need a new reference.
You tell me, since you're listening to Teen Pop, then who's hot right now? Then who's hot?
Cardi B. Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Yeah.
I can't believe. Okay, fine. It's taking Cardi B, and then they put her in a movie called Cardi Gonna Get You or something like that. Cardi Can't Stop Me. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be the same script of girl goes to Hollywood. They say she can't make it. Then somebody gives her a chance to sing, and next thing you know, she's on the top trying to make it. That's all it's going to be. It's gonna be like starring Cardi B. Trying to. It's ridiculous. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. That's all it is. Vanilla Ice. Cool as Ice. Terrible script. Terrible acting.
Did you see this movie?
I watched maybe 15 minutes of it. I can't watch any more of it.
Okay.
Here you
I
go.
don't even know why you would go see a movie called Cool as Ice, but okay.
Well,
I don't know why you would even watch it.
See it. First of all, I would not go see it. It just happened to be just scrolling past TBS years later.
But you stopped enough to watch 15 minutes of it.
Because, I'm a train wreck watcher. I like to see the train wrecks.
Okay.
All right. So Richard Harrington of the Washington Post of Cool as Ice said, quote, having established that he can't rap or dance, Vanilla Ice now adds acting to his resume.
Nice.
Call it the tri imperfecta of pop.
Nice.
Number 7, your favorite sexual assault person,
Really?
Ghost Dad, Bill Cosby.
Wow. I've never seen it, but
it was directed by Sidney Poitier.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the blacks stick together.
Wow.
I don't
This
even
was
recall.
1990, Ghost Dad. We had just graduated college.
Don't recall. No, high school. And I don't
Bill
remember
Cosby was
anything
one of
about
the biggest stars on the planet. The Cosby Show ran for a successful 8 seasons and was the highest rated show on television 5 years in a row from 1985 to 1990. So this came right after. He's in his run. Like, this is his shit.
I think I probably gave up on the Cosby Show probably around that time. So maybe it was like out of fashion for me to deal with Bill Cosby at the moment.
Okay.
So
Number 6, Mr. Magoo, also starring Leslie Nielsen.
that's a live action movie?
Yes.
Never seen it. Never. Wow, these are like forgettable. I never even saw it. I don't even recall this being out.
Okay, here, this is the quote. The Flintstones proved that there was a lot of potential money to make in live-action remakes of cartoons from the 1960s. To this end, Disney decided to revive the UPA animation cartoon Mr. Magoo. So there you go. One success breeds a million more, but apparently this one failed. I don't recall Mr. Magoo being very popular as the Flintstones, though.
It was. I think it was it was before your time. That's why.
Before my time.
I think it was a cartoon in the '60s, like a weekly show, or Mr. Magoo was like a thing. He had like a cultural moment.
All right, number 5. We're in the top 5, Bill. Stop or my mom will shoot. Sly Stallone.
Where are you finding these things? Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember this. Do you?
Stallone even admitted in an interview with Ain't It Cool News, quote, maybe one of the worst films in the entire solar system, including Alien Productions, were never seen.
Wow.
He went on to say that, quote, a flatworm could write a better script.
Wow. Seems harsh.
But, this is the type of movies that happen. When you're a big star, you just start doing all sorts of things. This, Ben Affleck has fallen into this whole thing. You just start doing any type of thing.
How do you tell the difference between that and like the Jumanji reboot that makes like, a gajillion dollars though? Like the Jumanji reboot to me, and we've seen the trailer several times after going to see movies last year, we both agreed it was like hot garbage. And now it's like fucking mega jillions.
It keeps making money.
Yeah.
Money. Listen, Bill, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. You know what? This is the whole thing you're talking about, escapism.
I guess. I mean, but this is when you want to say to me, your argument is always the people can tell the difference between goodness and crap. I honestly believe that you are off base. I don't think anyone gives a shit whether it's any good or not. It's whether whatever about that movie strikes people in the moment. I really believe that. Because these things like Jumanji prove my theory to me that it doesn't really, and I'm speaking out of turn. To be honest, I haven't seen the Jumanji movie, so I don't know whether it's any good or not. But on the trailer alone, which did not give me any yucks, any cracks of smiles, or any slight bit of entertainment value, I would say I did not think much of the movie. And I thought it was going to make 5 cents.
It's a weekend. You got your family. It stars The Rock, who's a very popular actor.
Apparently, The Rock can solve all the world's crisis.
If The Rock was
president, we might be okay.
Yeah, it stars Jack Black. It's also got Kevin Hart. Okay, you have all these people in there. And if it's on a weekend, you're out with your woman. What do you want to go see? Schindler's List 2 or want to go see Jumanji? You know what? I want to put her in a mood. Let's go laugh. Let's just have some sort of light entertainment. Let's not make it too heavy. You want to take your girlfriend. You're in high school. You're going to go see something that's going to be humorous and a good time. Maybe that's what it's playing. It's a comedy. Maybe that's how it works. I wouldn't go see it on the weekend, but that's just, I'm a little bit more of a dour face.
Again, Jumanji, to me, which the original came out about 15 years ago. I don't even know. Maybe that's somehow more beloved than I've ever given it credit for. I just don't know that kids today would really relate to.
I don't know. I feel like I don't have a connection with that old Jumanji. I don't think it is. I just think it's the fact that it's got Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and The Rock in it.
Jack Black? Jack Black is nobody's box office draw. The Rock and Kevin Hart, maybe. But
Kevin Hart and The Rock. There you go.
I think it's more Kevin Hart and The Rock.
Don't tell me that somehow people were sitting there going, I can't wait for Jumanji. This is a vehicle starring The Rock to do his shit. Okay, that's all it is.
Listen, apparently America wants to see The Rock do anything. So The Rock is like movie saver. If you put The Rock in your movie, you can be guaranteed it's not going to flop. That's where he's like the modern day Sylvester Stallone.
No, how did Baywatch do? Okay, hold on. I don't think Baywatch was a big hit here, so let's just slow your roll. It cost $70 million, and it only made $58 million in America.
Okay, but for every Baywatch, like most of his stuff seems to do okay.
Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron. So it just doesn't necessarily, just because he's in it and they're showing a whole bunch of skin, nobody was impressed with that, clearly, in America.
Well, I'm just saying he seems to really, and as far as movie stars go,
he has more hits than losses. That's for sure. Yeah. He has more wins than losses.
He's definitely got like the movie star, although there aren't anymore. He's like one of the last ones we have.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, this is what you would say to me. Having The Rock in it can't be a bad thing.
Right. It's not going to hurt.
Right. Absolutely.
Which is why he gets the big paydays and Tyrese gets upset.
Yeah, and if he wanted to do these movies, but there's a point. Like if he were to do some of these movies, I think might get a pass. Like, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Sly Stallone did a little stinkers. I mean, Nicolas Cage is still doing those. Ben Affleck did a lot of stinkers in between doing some stuff. I mean, he was churning out a lot of different movies. You can't tell me sitting out looking at Ben Affleck's IMDb page, he was sitting there being a little bit selective with what he's trying to do. He was just
No,
out there going, whatever you
I've
want
got
me to
bills
do,
to
I'll
pay,
do it.
bitches. When you're a working actor in the acting field, I think at some point, unless you're fucking, a movie star, which there aren't anymore, then you got to pay the fucking bills like everybody else.
I'm looking up Ben Affleck's IMDb. Let's see here. Where do you want to start with him? When did you become exposed to Ben Affleck, Bill?
Oh shit, I don't know. Good Will Hunting? I don't know.
98? Mallrats?
Probably Mallrats. Probably Armageddon Mallrats.
Okay. Mallrats was in 1995, which I never saw. Then he flowed into Chasing Amy. That sounds like something you would see.
It's a great movie. Have you seen it? You've not seen Chasing Amy?
I have not seen Chasing Amy. 1997.
You have a problem with lesbians?
No, not if they're on
then
film.
Then I suggest you see it. I mean, unless you've got something against lesbians, I think you should see that movie.
Well, I don't really. Can it just be that I have something against bad movies? Does it have to be against lesbians?
It's a great movie, though. That's the problem.
I don't have anything against lesbians. You're the one that hasn't seen Brokeback Mountain. Okay, all right.
Yeah, you know why? Because not every gay love story has to end in some kind of burning, heaping, tragic sadness. That's why.
You saw Moonlighting. What's that?
Moonlight. Yeah. Right. Where the guy ends up like basically just not even getting it on with the other guy. They like kiss, and that's the end of the movie. Talk about neutering. Ugh.
Well, that followed up with Chasing Amy with Good Will Hunting, which I did see and did enjoy. Obviously, that's some Academy Award winning stuff going on in there. He then did Armageddon. He was also in Phantoms. Shakespeare in Love.
Ugh, hate that movie.
200 Cigarettes.
I think I hated that too.
Okay. Forces of Nature. Sandra Bullock.
Hated.
Dogma.
Hated.
Okay. If I'm looking at this, Bill, he started like after this run here where his shit's hot. I think probably Good Will Hunting, Armageddon. This is where he's at. He's getting like
Peak.
Supernova.
Peak Affleck.
Yeah. He starts doing like 5 movies a fucking year.
Yeah. You know
2000. He's doing 5 fucking movies. Is that normal?
You know why? Bills, bitches. Daddy's got bills. That's why.
How many movies does nowadays? Seriously, what does Chris Pratt do? How many movies a year does Chris Pratt do?
Maybe 2 or 3.
If that.
Okay.
Blockbuster movies that are released in the theater, not some sort of like side.
2 or 3.
Like
he's part of 2.
Sundance.
He's part of 2 franchises, and then he does at least maybe 1 other movie a year.
Yeah, who does that anymore? Is that happening? 5 movies a year.
Jay, they don't even make that many movies anymore. So no, they don't make 5 movies a year because he was making like middling or low budgets, and they don't have that category anymore.
Okay, here I'm just going to give you 2000 to 2002 of Ben Affleck. This is what he was doing here. The peak Affleck was what you said here. Here we go. 2000, Boiler Room, Reindeer Games, Bounce. Oh shit! Hold on, I clicked the wrong button. I'm back. I'm sorry. Where did I leave off here? Bounce. Pearl Harbor. Daddy and Them. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Changing Lanes. The Sum of All Fears. The Third Wheel. Here you go. Daredevil, 2003.
Still like it better than the show.
Geely, Paycheck, Jersey Girl, Surviving Christmas, Man About Town, Come the Fuck On. Come on!
When was Come the Fuck On? I didn't see that one. What year was that?
All right, let's move on. there's a point where you have to be a little bit selective, I think.
Bitch, please. It's a job like everything else. Okay? If they're going to pay you to sit in a fucking movie lot and, read some lines, your ass isn't going to be like, oh, no, I don't think so. When you've got like, agents and fucking managers and mortgages and bitches sucking on your teat, you're going to be like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure. Where do I sign?
I saw an article at MSN that indicated that Johnny Depp spends upwards of $30,000 a month. I guess he'll be following Ben Affleck's IMDb page in a short while.
If he hasn't already. I think Johnny Depp's done a lot of crap too, but I mean, you just can't blame the motherfuckers for trying to get work. I mean, who knows? Maybe they went into it thinking it was going to be some high art, or maybe they just wanted to fucking pay the rent.
Okay,
I can tell you what, I don't do my job because I think it's high fucking art. I don't walk in there every day going, oh yeah, I'm doing quality shit here. The fuck? Give me my check. Okay. I imagine you feel the same way.
You feel like you're doing some good stuff for the children. Children's children, don't give a fuck. Where's my money?
Where is my check? Let the check not come into the bank account one time when it's supposed to be in there, and we'll see how fast I give a shit about what good I'm doing for the people. Okay.
I was too rich. All right.
And I imagine you and most everybody else probably feel the same way.
All right. Number 4, Cool World.
I like that movie.
That stars Brad Pitt. I didn't know that starred Brad Pitt. He's young in this.
It's like one of his first movies.
1992.
Yeah.
When did Who Framed Roger Rabbit come out?
I would say maybe 1990, 91.
So you think it came out before Cool World?
I believe maybe it did.
All right, here, hold on. Let me check because I'm kind of curious because it sort of seems like the same thing as 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That was when we were juniors in high school? Really?
Yeah. So I guess, is this the whole idea that Cool World was like trying to follow in the footsteps of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, of animation with human characters?
I think it was a new concept, and they were probably, trying to experiment with it and see what they could do to push the sort of boundaries. Yeah.
The original script for Cool World was about a cartoonist who fathers an illegitimate half-real, half-cartoon daughter. The daughter hates herself and her father and then subsequently tries to kill him. The movie's script was scrapped by the movie's original producer and was later rewritten as a story about an animated world in which cartoons become real if they mate with a human. So that's what's going on. You had this, what's her name? Who was the blonde in the movie?
I can't today.
Was it Michelle Pfeiffer? It was not Michelle Pfeiffer.
No,
it's the
Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale, yes.
Whatever that bitch's name is. Kim Basinger.
Thank you. You know what? I cannot have you have a freeze lock. I'm older now. My brain.
I don't know. I'm having an off day. It happens to everybody.
We're playing Jeopardy for the few moments last night, which playing with my woman, it's very depressing because
when you say playing, are you watching along and playing, or are you playing on a board game type version?
No, watching Alex Trebek live on television or
okay.
DVR. As I'm watching it, the answer comes up like, what director?
Wait a minute, stop. Your ass DVRs Jeopardy?
Yeah, I do.
What are you, like 77? That's what Chris's parents do. Okay? They every night like clockwork, Chris can't talk to his parents between the hours of 6:30 and 7 or whatever time that show comes on because they're watching Jeopardy. It seems like an octogenarian thing to do. Now, I'm not saying it's not academically meritful. I'm sure it is. But it seems like, who the fuck DVRs Jeopardy?
You know what? You got a lot of nerve. Because I like playing Jeopardy and it's fun. Now, the difference is we don't sit down and go like this, oh, it's 7:30. We've got to run and watch fucking Jeopardy. It's just more or less.
It's even worse.
Sitting down.
Your asses fucking record the shit like it's some kind of fucking prime time television. Let's sit down and watch an episode of The Shield, but we need an icebreaker. Let's watch Jeopardy first. Honey. Okay. Jeopardy? Okay, it's fine.
All right. Anyway, so as I'm sitting there watching it, it'll be like, who's the director of Armageddon or something like that. And as I'm trying to on the tip of my tongue, she's just like, she shouts out the words, Ridley Scott. She's just like instantaneous, like her, you know what it is?
And you know what? She would lose because you have to form your answer in the form of a question.
Well, those few extra seconds still aren't helping me out. My synapses are fried. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on. My synapses are fried.
So you're telling me that you're not only is it sad enough that you're DVRing Jeopardy, but you actually suck at it anyway.
Yeah, or she's really good. She got Final Jeopardy last night, and I'm looking at her going like, I'm just dumb. I just feel stupid right now.
Do you feel emasculated when your girlfriend is like, super smart, and you're just like, sure, honey, whatever you want to do. And she looks at you like, well, I mean, at least he's got something I need, so I'll keep him around.
Okay, as long as you're killing the spiders and reaching on the top of the fridge to get stuff I can't, you have some use. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like most women look at most men, I imagine.
So you like Cool World then? You like Cool World?
I liked it. I don't recall ever having an urge to go back and rewatch it, but I remember seeing it in the theater, and I remember enjoying it when I saw it. So
let me get this straight. Does Brad Pitt do the cartoon girl, make her human?
I don't remember. I mean, we're talking about 30 years ago, Jay.
Yeah, that seems awfully racy. Number 3 movie.
At the time, I just remember thinking Brad Pitt was fine as fuck, and if he wanted to do me, he could have me in a moment. So.
And there you go. That's truth speak from Bill. Okay, thank you. Number 3.
Power! I speak truth to power, bitches.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 1997.
I saw it, and it's probably one of the reasons why I refuse to see comic book or video game movies to this day, because I just think they are bastardized. It's a bastardized genre. And I know a lot of people feel that way about comic book movies, so that's fine. I guess I feel the same way only about video game movies.
Well, yeah, this movie was if I recall, like if it's on television, I'll leave it on for a few minutes because it's just mindless.
Talk about bad acting.
Oh, all of it. It's horribly bad.
It's horrible.
Bad, written badly, and things
the
just
effects
happen.
were poor. The whole thing was just a heaping pile of crap.
Okay, I can't believe that. That was the beginning, huh? The seeds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of the first it was one of the first video game movies, I think.
Sure. I gotcha. All right, number 2, Speed 2, Cruise Control, 1997, 3%.
I remember I didn't like it. That's all I really remember about it.
It was Sandra Bullock and what's his name? I can't even remember his name in it.
Wow, we're just really hitting on 1,000 today.
Yeah. Apparently, the original Speed grossed over $350 million worldwide. It had a
which is why there was a Speed 2
fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Was it Speed was on a bus? So what was Speed 2 on a boat? It was a boat, right?
It was on a boat.
Right.
Control. This is what I'm talking about. This is some shit to where, like, it works for me in Die Hard. Like
right. It's the same concept, Jay. In a building, on a plane, whatever.
Right. It works for me on Die Hard. For some reason in Speed, it just seemed fucking ridiculous. Like you're just talking about stretching something. Like it's a boat. If this boat goes less than whatever it's supposed to do, it's gonna explode. It's just like
right. The bus that worked for you. Really?
Yeah, it actually worked because it was fresh, Bill. It was fresh.
Okay.
Speed 2. You talk about crashing down. Crashing. How much did Speed 2 make? Let's see here.
Well, there was no Speed 3, was there?
Oh, no. Let's see here. Cruise Control.
Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know?
What do you think it made? I mean,
I don't know.
All right. Ooh, made a lot of money. It cost $160 million to make. It only made $48 million in the U.S.
Well, now you know why there was no Speed 3.
And technically, I guess if you look at it worldwide, it cost 160 to make. It made worldwide 164 million.
Well, just barely made it.
And the fact is, this actor is not even getting any play in here. Who is the actor from this?
Keanu
It's Sandra
Reeves.
Bullock, William Defoe, but William Defoe's not even on the cover. Hold on, I have to know, Bill. I have to know.
Are you watching? I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about here, but are you watching American Crime Story Versace?
Um, I hear a lot of good things about it. Jason Patrick, by the way.
Oh, right, because Keanu Reeves wouldn't come back for some reason.
I don't know why. Maybe he read the script and was like, "This shit's some bullshit."
As if that would matter to Keanu Reeves. I don't think that was why. I
I
think it was
don't think
probably
so.
more to do with like how much money they would or would not pay him.
Okay, maybe that's the case. Well, apparently they could have used him. How about that?
I don't think it would have saved it. That's just a guess.
Um. Oh, here you go. If you want to look at Wikipedia, we'll go back to your Versace thing. Okay, we also know that Wikipedia. Take it for what it's worth. When they're talking about Speed 2 Cruise Control, Bullock initially declined to star in the sequel, but later agreed to get financial backing for the drama film Hope Floats. She was paid a reported 11 to 13 million to reprise her role as Annie. Reeves was offered 12 million to reprise his role as Jack Traven, but turned it down because he did not like the script. Was financially secure from the success of Speed, and felt he was not ready to mentally and physically star in another action film after having completed Chain Reaction. He passed on the role to star in the horror film The Devil's Advocate, which was filmed at the same time as Speed 2.
And also made 50 cents.
Okay.
So
Look at him. He's like this. I'm high on money, bitches.
hey,
Speed
and you know
2
what?
sucks.
He
Okay.
was still he still hadn't done the Matrix yet, so he still had his star to rise even higher in the future. Although no
You
one
know
knew it.
what? I don't know if like what's his name? What's his name? Keanu Reeves. I don't know if he went in here and revised his Wikipedia page, but I like it. I like my actor sitting there going, I looked over your script. This sounds like crap. Sandra Bullock's like, I'll take that 13 million.
That's right. Because in the end, I mean, you could say you're trying to build a career and you want to be known as a certain kind of actor doing a certain kind of project. I mean, that's fine. But we're in an environment right now where who fucking knows if there's even going to be a fucking movie industry in the next 10 years. So I would suggest these fuckers take the money and run. Okay? Do some good investing, put the money away, save for your kids' college education, and call it a day. First of
If
all,
you want to, I'll do Speed 3. Speed 3 on the plane, Speed 4 on the
yeah,
toboggan,
I'll do
Speed
speed in a
5 on a
bathtub.
bicycle.
You got enough money on the table, fuck it. Yeah. Because the thing about it is, with acting, I mean, come on, for every audition that you get, there's got to be 20 or 25 auditions that they go on, they don't even get. So it's a very sort of like rags to riches lifestyle where 1 minute maybe they hit a star and it becomes like, they hit a project and it becomes big shit for 5 seconds. But you're yesterday's news tomorrow. So, who knows if you'll ever get another thing. I don't blame these people for taking these fucking shitty movie jobs or whatever. Fuck. Imagine that life, Jay. Imagine getting a job that pays you $10 million, but you don't get another job for like 6 more years. How do you live like that?
You know what? You have to be frugal with your expenditures, Bill. That's how you live.
A lot of these people who live in these ginormous houses and live on coasts and things and take vacations and post Instagram photos of them, on some beach half the time, do they look like they're frugal? Ask Johnny Depp about frugality.
I don't know what frugality is. I don't want it. I wear condoms to make sure I don't catch it.
That's funny.
I like it though. I like that my actors, some of them out there, have some sort of like integrity. I
Sure,
like it.
sure,
Though.
sure.
And by the way, I'm looking up The Devil's Advocate because I also like that movie, and I don't believe that you.
Is that a Guillermo del Toro production?
No,
Isn't it a remake of?
that is director Taylor Hackford.
Okay. If I'm not
Um,
mistaken, though, it might have been a remake of a Guillermo del Toro movie.
oh, I didn't know that it had that type of background.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, this
I
movie made 60 million. It was more than Speed 2.
okay.
I don't know how much it costs to make though.
Probably not that much.
Mm, this is kind of hold on. We're almost nearing the last movie and then we're going to head off into um apparently The Devil's Advocate was based on a book by Andrew Niederman. Mm, it's not really giving me much.
Doesn't say
Development,
anything
yeah.
about Guillermo del Toro in there.
Not that I see within here, but
Okay.
obviously we don't have time for it. But let's move
Okay.
on. The number one movie of the worst movies of the 90s, according to Rotten Tomatoes, 1999's Baby Geniuses, 2%.
Don't really have much to say about that. Never seen it.
Yeah, of course not. It did spawn a sequel, Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2.
Really?
Apparently, it shouldn't cost much to make.
I wouldn't think so.
Roger Ebert is quoted as saying, babies are cute only when they're being babies. When they're presented as miniature adults, there is something so fundamentally wrong that our human instincts cry out in protest.
Wow. Okay.
There you have it, folks. The 20 worst movies of the 90s, according to Rotten Tomatoes. I wanted to talk about something else, but I think we're nearing our 2 hours.
We are.
Um, did you see that article I sent you regarding that we don't need China for box office?
I did not.
It says that their box office isn't as important as Hollywood thinks, and I sent it to you from Screen Rant. It's
Okay.
a 3-page article. It's actually kind of fascinating a little bit. I mean, obviously the person is kind of pushing this whole thing like, let's just get off of this. And I think it really sums it up that like I'll let you read it and we'll discuss it later. But
Okay.
it's how much did the Last Jedi? It made $54 million over in
They
China.
pulled it from the movies because it was doing so poorly.
Right. The second biggest film market, The Last Jedi only made $54 million. The movie is like 1.3 billion.
Right.
I mean, it only made 54 million in the second largest market. So,
The Chinese aren't having Star Wars, as I think we can
well,
understand now.
yeah, but I guess the whole article is making like you don't need China to sit there and say like because it was pointing out several movies that were box office bombs in America, Warcraft, Need for Speed, and some other shit, but they were huge successes over there in China.
Right.
And you go like you don't really still see them making sequels to these movies. And the article points out like it's a complicated process here, but you're trying to pull in that money from them, but the studios still only get 25% of whatever the film makes in China. The
Right.
studios only
Because the
pull in
government
25%.
takes a bigger chunk of the.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So you're catering to them. But what in America you get 45%, I think is what I read or something else like that from the proceeds. Either way, it's kind of interesting. I'm sure we want all the money from everywhere, but I guess it's just trying to make the point that you don't necessarily have to get down and then bend on one knee and beg them for their support to be successful.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think you're not going to turn the money down if they
well,
if they
no,
flock to it. It might not make a difference as to what movies get made or greenlit or sequels or whatever. Or
yes.
yeah.
Well, I think it's just kind of pointing out like it's trying to act like that somehow if we don't have the China market, that our shit just won't work. And I think the
And
article
I
points
also
out
think
that we
Star
were we
Wars
were
is not.
successful before having the China market. You can still be successful without it. Obviously, like you said, you want it. Why would you not want to be successful in all the markets and make the money? But the fact is, you don't have to sit there and go like, if we don't have China, we've got to have them. I think
Well,
that's
but it depends on the movie, Jay. I think Star Wars is an anomaly in this case because Star Wars speaks volumes around the rest of the world. Then, in that case, you don't necessarily need China. But for something like Warcraft that bombs everywhere else except China, then I think the people who are fucking at Universal or whoever made that movie are fucking damn happy they were in China because if it wasn't for China, they wouldn't have shit.
Well, yeah, they made their money, absolutely. But the
Yeah,
whole point
from
is,
China.
but you're still not getting any type of sequel. So just because it was successful in China doesn't mean they're sitting there. Oh, you know what? This made it in China, so we got to make 3 more now. It's not driving that market per se. It saves your bacon, but it doesn't sit there and lead. It's not necessarily getting my Warcraft 2.
Right.
It's not getting your
Unless,
Terminator Genesis 2.
right.
You're not, Need for Speed. You're not getting any of those.
Which, it does sort of mystify me a little bit. I mean, if it makes the money somewhere, why not just release it in the place where it made the money and maybe do some other kind of like sequel direct
Well,
to
I think.
video in other
Well,
territories?
I guess I would argue that that would make sense, but long as you could do it on the cheap. If you're only getting 25 cents on the dollar, it doesn't seem worth it for
Well,
China.
and then that's probably why then, because if China would maybe give them up more of the profits, maybe we would get movies like Warcraft 2. But if you're only going to get 25 cents on the dollar, then it maybe it doesn't make sense for them to do
And
it.
I believe Warcraft costs a lot of money to make. I mean, I want a Warcraft 2, but financially, I could see unless somehow somebody else
How
is
about a
putting the
Warcraft 2 on a Netflix Marvel series budget? Would you like that?
Is it going to be the same director continuing the same story as Warcraft 1?
Absolutely, but instead of having like any kind of visual effects, they're just going to talk a lot. They're going to talk a lot about like the other kingdoms and the wizards and the philosophy, and then maybe like at the end of the season, you'll get one action scene with somebody wearing a pot on their head. Would that would that work for you as a
Yes. Episode 1. What's going on? I don't know if I want to be a wizard. Well, let me tell you, when I had the same thing when I was a child. Back then, I wasn't sure. That'll be the whole episode, just whether or
right?
not.
Exactly. But you've got to make sacrifices, Jay. Netflix does not have pots and pots of money to just be throwing at every fucking willy-nilly half-ass series that came out.
Here, you open the door. I guess if everybody paid for their subscription, we might be able to have some more special editions.
Wow. Wow.
By the way, are you
Gosh.
overwhelmed with all the choices out there, Bill?
I am not, because I ignore like 89% of them. So,
I asked my woman over breakfast. I go, "Are you overwhelmed with all the Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Netflix and HBO Nows?" And I go, "There's so many choices. Are you?" And she looked at me and was like, "No, I just watch what I want to watch." Okay, I was like, "Oh, okay, all right. I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying, there's
are
just
you
so many.
overwhelmed?
Well, no, but I feel like there's a lot of choices out there buying for my eyeballs. I mean, there's a lot of choices out there, and so I feel as though this is, I guess, what I was going to sum it up with. It's clear to me that it forces people, I believe, like competition. It forces people to step up their game because there's so many people making so many different things and properties and films and TV shows. Like if you want your stuff to be a hit, then you got to do something different. I don't know what it is, whatever works, but you're not the only kid on the block. It's not like there's only 3 stations. You've got to do something that's, I don't know. I don't know. You got to make a different wheel. It's like
It's called peak TV. That's what we're in, I guess, is what people call it. I don't
peak.
necessarily notice that it's peak TV because a lot of the stuff that is out, I'm very myopic and I have a very specific genre of requirement for me to watch. And now, if you're asking me, am I becoming overwhelmed with superhero shows? Yes. I'm also becoming disillusioned with some of them because they're just not as good as I had hoped they would be sometimes. And I think I'm going to start have to call the herd pretty soon with other
Oh, I
things are
like it
coming
when
like
you start calling the herd, Bill.
well, I mean, like I'm not sure, like I
Oh,
told
you
you,
just want to say that because you're ready to get rid of Punisher. You're acting like you're doing some favors. You're going to get rid of the Punisher. You're not going to
I'm
do
not sure
Cloak
that
and
we're going to do Cloak
Dagger.
and Dagger. I'm not sure, Krypton will try for sure, but I'm not
You're going to do
sure. I'm
Black
not sure.
Lightning. Black
No,
Lightning.
no, we're not because you know why? I don't like Greg Berlanti shows, and the costume, quite honestly, looks ridiculous. It just looks ridiculous. Um, and yeah, so I mean, I'm all out on the whole DC TV end of things, except for Gotham, and we're gonna give Krypton a try. I'm not sure we're gonna stick with Runaways. I'm pretty much 90% sure I'm not going to do The Boys based on what you've told me about the comic.
Oh, I'm
So,
gonna try
yeah,
the boys out. I'm gonna try the boys out.
of course you are. Yeah. I'm sure it'll probably be right up your alley when the superheroes are like making girls get down on their knees and give them blowjobs. I'm sure you're just going to be like, yeah, you don't see that shit on ABC.
I'll tell
Okay.
you what, if that scene doesn't happen, I'm turning it off because then
Okay.
I feel like it's not keeping it real.
Right.
It's
Okay.
not
And
being true to the material, Bill.
I tell you what, when I think of Superman, the first thing I think of is Superman making Lois Lane get down on her knees and blow him. That's the first thing I think of when I think I love Superman.
Hey, listen, I didn't write the story. If that's the story that you're basing it off to, stay true to the material. Hey,
True enough.
it's called the Ten Commandments, not the Five Commandments. Okay, base the story on the Ten Commandments.
Okay. I mean, I don't have to watch it, so the fact that it exists is fine.
All right, here we're gonna wrap this up. I don't have any special effects. Don't care. For the
Boy, you've come
weekend
a long way.
of January 19th through the 21st, 2018, the number one movie this weekend was once again Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. Fifth
Wow.
week. It
Shit
just
tons
keeps
of money.
making
Don't understand why.
keeps making money, keeps making money, keeps making money. It's up to 767 million
I
over
don't get
5
it.
weeks.
I just
Can't
don't get
stop
it.
the rock, baby. Can't stop the rock. Okay, 12 strong. Your boy Chris Hemsworth.
Really? Please tell me he's got a hit outside of Thor. That would make me very happy.
Well, it made 16 million in its
See,
first week
he
of release.
can be a box office success outside of Thor.
Is 16 million considered a success?
Well, I mean, it's the number 2 movie, so it's better than whatever that movie was that he did a couple years ago that bombed, and you were like, "Oh, see, he can't do anything except Thor."
I like to think that there's really not a lot of choices out there because, to be
That's
quite
fine.
honest with you, it only made a
There wasn't a
million
lot of
more.
choices when that movie came out either.
It only made a million more than old ass. The third movie is Den of Thieves with Gerald Butler. Here you go. 50 Cent, O'Shea Jackson, Pablo Schreiber, and Evan Jones. Somehow it came in third, only a million under Chris Hemsworth's movie. You think that's a win, huh?
I think number 2 is a win. Now, whether it's number 2 of,
You know what?
the
You
trash
sound like
heap.
his agent. You sound like his agent right now. You're just like this. Listen, Chris, you're number 2. Okay? That's good money right there, Chris. 16 million. That's
Take
good.
your
You should be
successes
proud.
where you get them.
You know what? Whatever. You keep selling that Kool-Aid over there. Okay, number 4 movie. In its 5th week out, The Post.
Oh, that's Spielberg, I believe.
It is Spielberg, starring
Yeah.
Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep, Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
It's made about 45 million.
Wake me up when Ready Player One comes out, please.
Okay, the production budget is 50 million, so it's you know, Ready Player One. Here you go. And the last movie is number 5, The Greatest Showman.
Yay!
Also out.
Which they're calling a sleeper hit, which, I guess it didn't do all that great when it first came out and people were like writing it off as like a failure, but it just keeps on trucking. So that makes me happy because I want more musicals in theaters. Now, the argument could be made, well, then why didn't I take my black ass to go see it? And that's a fair judgment, and I should have seen it, but it's just like I just didn't. But I will probably do a blind buy on it when the Blu-ray comes out. So
A blind buy. There's a lot of B's in this episode today.
yeah,
Basic bitch.
basic bitch, blind buy.
Blind buy. Some other stuff you said. I can't remember. Anyway, so there you have it. Not a lot of shakeups. It's very slow going on in these winter months right now, the dead months.
Well, it's kind of the, in a couple weeks. What are we looking at? February 16th is the holding pattern until Black Panther.
I know.
Oh,
I,
actually, February 9th because my basic bitch ass has got to go see 50 Shades Freed. So
wait a second. When does Black Panther come out?
February 16th
Okay, why did you say February 9th?
because that's the weekend of 50 Shades Freed.
Oh,
50 Shades Freed, bitches. Yeah.
okay. Oh, It's like a soap opera on wheels. I can't with you.
You can take the gay. Well, how does that work? Mixing metaphors.
You take the gay out of the man, but you can't put the gay into the man.
Now that, well, I beg to differ, but in any case, let's just leave that there where it goes and move on.
When I start playing the music, that means I'm done with your nonsense.
Cool beans, bath time. Gonna get Rubber Ducky out.
Okay, so if you're gonna have a quiet night, get ready for the assault line or what?
Yep. I think we'll maybe watch Runaways tonight. I'm not sure, but I think we're done with Punisher for the weekend. I don't think I could take another one.
That's fair enough. I think I'm gonna do my taxes.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, Trump has simplified everything, so it should only take me 2 minutes, fill it out on a postcard, throw it into the mailbox.
Don't you do e-file?
Yeah, I'm joking. That's the point of the days, okay? Everything happens from my office.
Nice.
Which is covered in sawdust right now because I'm trying to put up doors right now. The whole office is covered in sawdust.
Yeah, listen, you've got 3 weeks to clean that shit up. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Yeah, listen, I'll figure it out. We'll have this shit in a few days, in 48 hours.
All right.
All right. Well, you can always hit us up at popularcinemapodcast@gmail.com. Bill doesn't know our phone number or Pop Cinema Cast or Twitter. Bill, it's been a good time. I'll see you in 2 weeks on the show.
All right. See you then.
Peace out.
Bye.